Welcome back. Today we are in Proverbs chapter 2, starting in verse 10. So, Proverbs chapter 2, starting in verse 10. When the wisdom enters your heart and knowledge is pleasant to your soul, the discretion will preserve you, understanding will keep you to deliver you from the way of evil, from the man who speaks perverse things, from those who leave the path of uprightness, to walk in the ways of darkness, who rejoice in doing evil, and delight in the perversity of the wicked, whose ways are crooked, who are devious in their paths, to deliver you from the immoral woman, from the seductress who flatters with her words, who forsakes the companion of her youth, and forgets the covenant of her God. For her house leads to death, and her path to the dead. None who go to her return, nor do they regain the paths of life, so that you may walk in the way of goodness and keep to the path of righteousness. For the upright will dwell in the land, and the blameless will remain in it, but the wicked will be cut off from the earth, and the unfaithful will be uprooted from it. So here we meet another woman, right? Back in chapter 1, verse 20, we met wisdom. Wisdom is portrayed as a woman on the side of the street calling out to you, saying, hey, listen to me. And now we have this other woman, this immoral woman, that everyone's kind of going to. And this is the one that wisdom is trying to say, hey, stop going to her house. It's wicked. It's destruction. Nobody comes out of that, right? It's like the roach hotels. And so the wisdom is calling you out of that and says, hey, come on out. And she's trying to rescue us from the immoral woman. And the same thing that Solomon's writing here, because he liked women, so he's writing about women. But the same thing that Solomon's writing about here happens to us today. We have a choice every moment of every day. Are we going to do what God wants us to do? Or are we going to do what He doesn't want us to do, what our flesh wants to do? And usually the flesh side looks a lot more enticing. Or like that looks like a lot more fun. But God says, no, don't do it. It is not good for you. And the simplest way I think I can explain it is like credit card debt, right? You want to buy something, you're like, oh man, I could use a big screen TV. Does God want me to have a big screen TV? I don't know, and it costs a lot of money. And let's say you don't have that much money, so you could either say, no, I'm gonna not buy that, and I'm gonna just be okay with what I have, and maybe God will bless me with it later if it's His will. Or you could say, oh, I'm going to get my credit card out and I'm going to put up my credit card, and then you're paying the credit card off for months, maybe years, and all the interest rate comes up, and that TV turns out to be twice as expensive as what you bought it for. And the thing is, it looks so enticing now. You get to have it now, but you're really paying for it for a long time. And then that happens with sin. Sin looks so good to us now. We're like, oh, I want to do that. I want to see that. I want to be that. I want to have that fun now. And so we have the fun now, and it's not as fun as we thought it would be, and then we end up paying for it later. Because sin hurts. It doesn't just hurt us, it hurts the people around us. And the people who love us more are more hurt by our sin than we know, than we think about. And so when we sin, we're actually hurting the people that we love, or really that love us. And it's a horrible, selfish thing to do. But we get fooled into it every single time by our own desires and flesh. And we say, well, no one's going to know about this. No one's going to be hurt by this. But guess what? God knows. He knows what the consequences are. He's hurt by it. You want to hurt the God who died on the cross for you? And even if you're like, well, He could take it. He's big enough. Yeah, well, He can, but why do that? You're like spitting in His face just because you said, well, I know you died for me so I wouldn't have to do this again, but I want to do this again. And so, and even if you think people won't find out, guess what? There are no secrets. Everything gets found out, especially now in this digital age when everybody thinks somebody else is watching, and maybe it's true, who knows? It's kind of like, when your dog goes rolling around in the mud and poop and stuff and comes in all stinky, and you wash the dog off, and then they just go off to do it again. Like, what was the point of washing? I should just lock the dog out. Guess what? We're the dog. We roll around in that stuff. When we come to God saying, hey, clean me, I give up, please forgive me, and He cleans us all up. And then we say, okay, I'm just going to go roll around again. And it's horrible, and we have to stop doing that. We need to choose wisdom and not choose foolishness. All right, God bless you. I'll see you next time for chapter 3.